What is your name, please?
My name is Paul Damon.
What is your name, please?
My name is Paul Damon.
What is your name, please?
My name is Paul Damon.
Two of these people are imposters. Only one is the real Paul Damon and is the only one sworn to tell the truth. Now, here is our host, Bud Collier.
Thank you very much. Welcome once again to Tell the Truth, brought to you this week by Tony. Tony and all its wonderful products have made it possible for every woman to find natural loveliness in the comfort of her own home. Now let's meet our panel. First, Miss Polly Bergen. Next, Mr. Don Ameche. Then Miss Kitty Carlisle. And finally, Mr. Tom Poston. Now, panel, will you please follow along with your copies of this first affidavit? I, Paul Damon, am a combat fireman with the Miami, Florida Fire Department. As a sideline, I have operated a one-man salvage company since I learned to skin dive at the age of 14. I have recovered from the water outboard motors, wallets, fishing gear, eyeglasses, torpedoes, guns, cameras, false teeth, and a couple of stolen cars for the police department. I am a member of the Miami Skin Divers team, which this past year won both the national and the international AAU spearfishing championships. Signed, Paul Damon. You heard these three gentlemen panel tonight, starting things off by each claiming to be Paul Damon, international spearfishing champion, or a member of the team at least. And let's start this first round of questioning with Polly Bergen. Polly?
Thank you, Bud. Number one, there's a theater in Miami that used to have vaudeville until a couple of years ago. Could you give me the name of that theater?
Coconut Grove.
Number two, could you tell me the name of the theater?
I think it's the Olympia.
Number three, what is the name of the fish that blows itself up like almost like a balloon? It can inflate itself.
Well, we call them blowfish.
Number one, is there another name for that fish?
A blowfish.
Number two, do you work with an aqua lung at all?
Occasionally, yes.
Who invented the aqua lung, number two?
Jacques Cousteau.
Number three, there's a film that...
Don Ameche.
Number two, what is the firepower of a gun that you use underwater?
The firepower?
What would be the firepower, the strength of the striking? Number three?
Well, there isn't any strength to it. It's a hand-operated gun. It's not a trigger gun.
You don't know how much power there would be in that?
No.
Number one?
No.
Number two, where is the High Life Fronton in Miami?
On 36th Street.
36 and what? Number three?
About 27th Avenue, I think.
And where?
And 36th Street.
Number one?
4th and 36th.
Number two. Number two, how far is Homestead from Miami?
30 miles.
Number three?
Kitty Carlisle.
Number three, where is the, what street is the Miami airport?
On 20th Street, the new one.
20th Street and what?
And, well, it's off Lejeune Road.
Number two, where's the Miami airport?
Off Lejeune Road and 20th Street.
Number one, do you know what the bends are?
The what?
The bends.
The binge, yes.
What's that?
Well, it's when you come up too fast.
Uh-huh. How far down do you go, number two?
Skin diving?
Yes.
Up to 100 feet.
Number three, where would you find things like false teeth and eyeglasses and fishing gear?
Well, the false teeth, I found two pair, one in a canal and one in a swimming pool.
Oh, you don't skin dive in the swimming pool.
Don Poston. Thank you. Number one, you say that the bends is when you come up too fast to drive. Technically, do you know what causes the bends?
Yes, nitrogen going into the bloodstream, and you ascend too fast.
Thank you, number one. Number two, how close to shore do the salvage laws operate?
I'd say within the continental limits of the United States.
But I mean, how close inshore as opposed to like 3 miles out or a mile out?
I don't know.
Number 3, could you tell me, please, how do you behave when you meet a barracuda underwater face to face?
Well, you just stay underwater and don't try and swim away too fast. Just stay calm.
That's it, panel. It's time to vote. So without consultation, as usual, will you mark your ballots? Also, as usual, you will select, if you please, number 1, number 2, or number 3. The team of challengers will get $250 for every incorrect vote. Has everyone voted? All set, Polly?
Mm-hmm.
For whom did you vote?
I voted for number 2 because he knew the name of the theater where vaudeville used to be in Miami because I helped kill it down there. It closed shortly after I finished.
Don, what is your vote?
I voted for number 1 because number 2 didn't know how far Homestead was, and number 3 didn't look like he could answer it, so I assumed number 1 could.
All right, Kitty, what is your reason?
I voted for number 2 because of the Olympia. I didn't help to kill vaudeville, Polly, but I played there. And we didn't ask number 3 what it was, though.
Well, it wouldn't have been any good because if number 2's the right one, number 3 would have just said what he said.
That's true. But also number 1 knew about nitrogen in the bloodstream, which sounds like the bend. But I think it's number 2.
Somehow,
He didn't
between the
ask
two
number
of you,
2.
you always manage to clear everything up. Tom?
Well, I voted for number 2. I thought that number 1 had been coached on that nitrogen business. Actually, it isn't the introduction of nitrogen into the bloodstream. It's the bubbles forming. The nitrogen's always there. And doesn't that make me sound smart?
Thank you.
So there we have the tallying of the votes. They're all in now, and if you're voting along with us at home, let's see how well you did as we discover the same thing about ourselves. As we learned which one of these gentlemen is the spear fisherman extraordinary. So will the real Paul Damon please stand up? Thank you very much, sir. Number 1, would you tell us your real name and what you really do, please?
My name is George Smith Lindsay. I'm a former school teacher, and now I'm a nightclub comic.
And your real name and what you do, number 3.
My name is Jim Anderson, and I'm a supervisor of pages at NBC.
He's referring, of course, to the National Biscuit Company. Now, checking up on the score, we find there was only 1 incorrect vote at $250 from Tony. And, gentlemen, we certainly enjoyed having you with us. You will also find there will be for you a guest package of all of the wonderful, gift package of all of the wonderful Tony products for your ladies. And thanks again. Good night. Best of good luck to you. Now let's meet our next team of challengers.
What is your name, please?
My name is Barbara Gunderson.
What is your name, please?
My name is Barbara Gunderson.
What is your name, please?
My name is Barbara Gunderson.
Again, will you follow along, panel, as I read you this affidavit? I, Barbara Gunderson, was appointed United States Civil Service Commissioner by President Eisenhower in September of 1958. Before my appointment, I worked as a newspaper reporter and as a radio broadcaster. I have written articles and short stories for some of the leading national magazines. Along with my 2 colleagues on the Civil Service Commission, I now administer the laws and directives relating to 2.5 million United States government employees throughout the world. Signed, Barbara Gunderson. All right, panel, we have 3 charming ladies, each one claiming to be Barbara Gunderson, United States Civil Service Commissioner. We'll start this round of questioning with Tom Poston. Tom?
Thank you, Bud. Number 2, please, Mrs. Gunderson. When you write for a newspaper, or magazine, rather, for magazine periodicals, how do you get paid for your work?
By check.
Is it always exactly the same fee?
No.
How does it differ?
It depends on what sort of an article I'm writing.
And how do you get paid?
Well, usually by check again. I insist on that.
how do they count how to pay you? I'll put it that way. When you're preparing an article for a magazine.
Oh, I see, by line.
By
the
line.
number of lines.
Thank you. Number one, would you agree with that? Is that how you get paid?
No, actually, I've received two kinds of checks. One which is a total amount for an article or a story I've done, and the other is by the word count.
By the word count? How do you count a word? I'm sorry.
Polly Bergen, please.
Gee, if you get paid with a line and you're right big, wow. Number one, where it says here that you were a radio broadcaster for a while. Could you tell me where WLW is?
In Cincinnati.
Number two, how old must you be to belong, in order to be able to belong to civil service?
18.
18. Number three, if you work in a say a telegraph office, would that be considered a civil service job?
It's conceivable that some telegraph operators are in civil service, but working in a telegraph office, no.
They don't have to belong.
No.
I got fired once, I think.
You did?
Yeah. So I lied about my age, and then I had to join the civil service, and I couldn't lie to the government, so I got fired. I could have, but they would have caught me. Number one...
Number one being Don Ameche.
Number three, are postal employees under civil service?
Yes, they are.
Number two, what station were you a broadcaster?
WNCA.
And where is that?
That's in North Carolina.
No, must be someone here from North Carolina. Number one, what can cancel an appointment to civil service?
Well, actually, your performance is what you're evaluated on, and also, if you have several chances to defend yourself if you are fired, and appeal your case up and up until you get up to our level at the top.
Number two, when did civil service originate?
In 1883.
Kitty?
Number three, is Gunderson your maiden name?
No, it is not.
It's your married name?
Yes.
Number three, how do you get paid when you write a magazine article?
I get paid after publication in many cases, but always by check.
No, but I mean by the line, by the word?
No, it seems rather a matter of the editorial need and interest in the article.
By the whole, I see. Number one, what is the lowest civil service pay?
The lowest is approximately $3,600
a year. Number
yes.
two, what is the highest civil service pay?
I could be around 25,000.
Number three, are diplomats under the civil service?
No, they are not. No, they are not.
They are not. Not even the consular and lower members of the diplomatic service?
They are under a special State Department.
That's it. Once again, it's time to vote, panel. So, as before, no consultation among yourselves. Would you please mark your ballots and select from this group number one, number two, or number three? Okay, has everyone voted?
No.
You haven't?
I was so sure until the last question.
Me too.
Really? And that... Will you stop pushing me, please, Gil?
Well, I didn't do it that time. That was
No,
Gil
Bud,
Fate.
you didn't. It was
That was
Gil
Gil
Fate.
Fate.
He's always saying, hurry, 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 hurry,
right,
hurry.
for whom did
And
you
if
vote?
I voted wrong, it's your fault. I voted for number one, though that number three got very sneakily brilliant at the end. All that jazz about the consul and, well...
She used to work at the Olympia.
No, really, I was very strong about number one because she knew where WLW was, but... I don't know, it's tight. Could be number three.
Okay, Don?
I voted for number one because it didn't work last time, and I thought it might work this time.
Which one did you select, Kitty?
I voted for number one because she said she got paid by the word and by the article as a whole, which I think is the way it's done. But number three was awful good on that consular business.
And Tom, which one is your favorite?
I just had a terrible thought. You wouldn't do this to us, would you? It's not all three ladies who are in charge. She said I, with my two associates, are at the head of the... Couldn't be.
Well,
Otherwise,
we'll
I
find out.
voted for number
because they're
three.
sneaky like that.
They wouldn't do that, would they, Polly?
Oh, absolutely.
They wouldn't. They were really brilliant ladies and quite lovely, but I thought number three was the Mrs. Gunderson. I'll put it that way.
All right, let's find out now. You've heard the votes. Let's discover for ourselves in our own particular moment of truth which one of these ladies is the real Civil Service Commissioner. So, will the real Barbara Gunderson please stand up? Boy, she was sneaky even right up to the end there. That was the best played hesitation waltz we've ever had on this show. Looks like they got together and worked out a performance there. That was a good one, ladies, believe me. Number one, would you tell us your real name and what you
Yes,
really
I'm Margaret Twyman, and I'm Director of Community Relations for the Motion Picture Association.
And the same information from number two, your real name and what you do.
I'm Marion Elliott Swink, and I'm the president of the official program company, and I print racetrack programs.
Not the tip sheet, just the program.
That's right.
Well, ladies, it's been fun, and I think you've had a good time, too, at least from the looks on your faces you have. And the panel did just the reverse of last time. 1, 2, 3 incorrect votes at $250 each for a grand total of $750 from Tony. Not bad, you will admit, I think, for an evening of pleasure. And also a gift package of wonderful Tony products for each of you. Thank you very much for being with us. Good night and good luck. Now, panel, let's meet our third team of challengers.
What is your name, please?
My name is Leroy Heckler.
What is your name, please?
My name is Leroy Heckler.
What is your name, please?
My name is Leroy Heckler.
Now, panel, will you follow along with your copies of this affidavit? I, Professor Leroy Heckler, operate a flea circus at Hubert's Museum on New York's famous 42nd Street. Although Heckler's Flea Circus has been playing in its present location for 35 years, it has been in continuous operation since it was started by my father in 1901. My fleas, which I breed and train, do 10 to 12 shows a day. They juggle, they dance, they race chariots, they jump through hoops, and operate a merry-go-round. Heckler's is the only trained flea circus still active in the Western Hemisphere. Signed, Professor Leroy Heckler. Now we have three gentlemen this time, all claiming to be Professor Leroy Heckler, flea circus operator. And we start this round with Kitty Carlisle.
Thank you, Bud. I've always longed to know about a flea circus. You breed your own fleas. Yeah, number one.
Oh, yes.
And they breed in captivity.
Oh, yes.
Easily.
Yes.
Is the flea circus been in your family a long time?
Since 1901.
1901. Number two, do you train them by love or punishment?
We train them by IQ. We must find out which are intelligent enough.
How do you find out?
Well, by placing them in a little glass tube and seeing which of them are frantic or not. Those that are a little more tamer can be trained for the circus.
Number three, do they have a sense of rhythm? You say they dance.
They can be taught to dance.
They can.
They have a natural amount of rhythm, but you bring it out of them by training.
Uh-huh. How do you train them?
Yes.
Tom Poston, please.
Gosh, I wonder, forgive me, number one, how do you actually start your spiel when you're introducing your flea circus?
Well, I generally start off by saying, before starting the performance, I will show you one of the little fellows at close observation. And I have a little flea in a microscope, and you hold that to your eye, you look towards the light, and that shows how the collar is put around his neck. And from then I go into...
Right into the spiel. That's marvelous.
You just take the leash and go out with it.
Number two, what is the Latin name for your the flea that you use in your circus?
The Latin name for it is, Pulex irritant. I even left it go because for many years I stopped too.
Polly?
Thank you.
Number three, how do people watch these fleas? Aren't they very tiny?
They are very tiny. It's very easy for them to watch. It's done on a little table which has a rough surface, and it is easy for an audience to gather around. The lights shine on it.
Well, don't you need a microscope? I can never find one on my dog.
They are large enough to be. They are large enough to be seen at close proximity when the background is lighter than they are.
Oh, I see.
They
No.
train at Vic Tanny's, you know.
Oh,
Don?
Number two, what is the present name of the, where the Ziegfeld roof used to be? What's the name of the theater?
The New Amsterdam Theater.
Number one, when did the Ziegfeld roof close?
The Ziegfeld roof?
Number three?
I know the Ziegfeld roof closed, but I don't remember the year.
Number two, when did the Ziegfeld roof close?
The Ziegfeld roof closed at approximately 1930.
Number two, what is the Ziegfeld,
I guess that's it. Time once again to vote, panel. So if you will, please, mark your ballots. No, I'm sorry. I really...
I wondered if they ever stepped on any of them accidentally.
No, once in a while there's a casual thing like that, you know, but they're all insured.
Oh, I see.
Sure. So you vote for number one, number two, or number three. All right. Everybody marked your ballots? Holly, have you marked yours yet?
Well, I just don't know which one it is. Nobody has itched once in this whole...
Well, I tell you, go and see this circus.
I
It'll
voted
tickle you.
for number two. Number three has a marvelous sense of humor, and I think you would have to have one to work with Flea.
I think so,
you know.
yes.
Or not be, too effective. But I must go and see this. I think that's wonderful. I've never seen it. Have you ever seen it?
I have, yes.
Oh, I think
Yes.
that was marvelous. I never have.
And Don?
I voted for number two. That's a strange-looking number two. I read Polly's mind, and I just figured she's pretty good at this flea business, so I followed her.
You can scratch your own way out of that one. Kitty, your vote, please.
I voted for number two. I don't know any Latin, but I think that in French, he said pulex irritant, and in French, puce is a flea, so I thought he was telling the truth.
And Tom?
Well, I really voted for number one because he was so nice to do that. Now, if he weren't the real one, I thought that was mighty nice of him to go through that opening spiel like that, and he deserves the money if I'm wrong. How's that?
All right, here we go now. We have voted, we respect our opinions, and let's see how well you're doing, too. Playing along at home with us, it's fun. And we'll discover right now which one of these three gentlemen is the real flea circus operator. So will the real Professor Heckler please stand up? Thank you very much, sir. Number two, would you tell us your real name and what you really do? You may be.
My name is George Singer. I reside here in New York City, and I am a professional hypnotist.
And you see, that's a way of training fleas you never thought of. Hypnotize them first. Number three, sir, your real name and what you do.
My name is Nat Hale. I am the owner of the A1 Pest Control Service, and we are exterminators.
Be seated, sir. He won't go after you, believe me. I guarantee he won't.
No.
I have. Don't you mean you've never seen one of these circuses?
No.
Go down, believe me.
I'm
the most
longing to
unbelievable
see
experience
one.
you've
I've
ever
never seen one
And
of
this
those.
gentleman is so patient and so wonderful about it, it's well worth seeing. Now, that's all the time we have for that.
Don't come before Saturday.
Don't come before Saturday?
Oh, my vacation is
Oh, he's on vacation.
Oh, all right.
So are the fleas, so watch out. We check over the score, we find again 1, 2, 3 incorrect votes at $250 each for a total of $750 from Tony and a gift package of Tony wonderful product for your ladies. Good night, gentlemen, and thank you so much for being with us.
Good night,
Well, that's all the time we have for tonight. Panel, you did pretty well tonight, as a matter of fact. Started off better than you ended up. But with no more time for vital statistics, may I say good night, panel?
Good night.
Good night, Bud. And this is Bud Collier saying good night from Tony and reminding all of you to tell the truth. Good night, everybody.
To Tell the Truth is the Mark Goodson Bill Godwin production in association with the CBS Television Network.